Gayatri, to Dr. Abha, and to my dear students, colleagues, faculty, and staff. It's so wonderful that we've started this session on women achievers. And who better than a super achiever in Dr. Yadav? And we've already heard the story that she comes from and where she is headed to. I'm sure, ma'am, sky is the limit for what you can achieve. I shall begin with a little thing that I read in a leader's LinkedIn account today, Mr. Vineet Nair from HCL. He said that look inside and be your own leader. It was very wonderful to read. He said, we need more women to believe that they deserve better and change their destiny. He said that don't live your life trying to be useful to someone else. Try living it being truthful to your inner self. I think nothing could be better than a man asking a woman to not be happy in the shoes that she is being given. And we as women have to be unhappy with the positions that we are, and then only we can strive to be better each day and to really get what we really, really deserve in our life. And I'm sure with the confidence that women of today have, with the kind of knowledge that we are trying to attain, there would be no complaints. There will be only gratitude for what we have achieved and aspirations to achieve more and more. We would like to hear from Dr. Abha Yadav now. Abha, if you could tell us about your journey from where you started and what you have achieved now, how's the journey been? And then we'll talk further about your challenges and how you faced. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vandana. First of all, I'd like to know if I'm audible enough or
Yes, yes,
okay,
you're
great.
audible. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Or I'll wear my, earphones. But
No,
it's
you're perfect. Yeah.
great. Thank you, Dr. Vandana, and thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to thank the Lloyd Group of Institutions. I'd like to thank Dr. Vandana Sethi in particular for reaching out to me. And actually, I've only interacted with Dr. Vandana and Soumya ji. So thanks to both of you, and I'm sure there's an entire team behind you. Thanks to the organizers, I'd like to say, for giving me this platform of sharing my views, my thoughts, my journey. You already know where I come from, and I'd like to take two key words and sentences that Dr. Vandana Sethi used. That she said, the first thing that she said was that the inference of that I take out is that men have to be with us in this battle for equality. Uh, so let's start with the theme. The theme, of course, is Durga Ashtami, and happy Navratras to all the participants, to the organizers, everybody who's listening to me. And this Durga Ashtami, let's start with a new message because Hindu mythology is so amazing. We worship goddesses, gods, and goddesses, and women have a special pedestal. But unfortunately, the reality is very different. So we are seeing these WhatsApp messages that are circulating all around. That in a country where rape is at the highest, where domestic violence against women is a very high rate, where all kinds of atrocities against women are being uh, committed, uh, we are going to worship a woman for the next 9 days, out of which three have already passed. Well, while we all should take cognizance of that, I would also like to counter this thought process by saying that, well, at least in our ethos, we do worship a woman. And yes, somewhere we have deviated from the path where we are in a society which is at the moment not a happy place to, for a woman to be a woman or a girl child, starting from the fetal stage. We are hearing about we know the female infanticide that is happening, female feticide that is happening, age, an unborn child, a female child, till 80 years, 90 years, all kinds of atrocities. So in this battle, what Dr. Vandana Sethi said, I have always, because I'm also a posh trainer, I take very many sessions on sexual harassment against women, legal empowerment of women, legislations in uh, support of women. And what I have realized in my research, in my work, is that I'd like to share with you is that the men have to be sensitive. The women are already going through what they are going through. And while women have to realize their rights and they have to realize their potential, it is for the men to make sure that an equal society is created. Then, of course, what Dr. Vandana Sethi said absolutely makes sense. That, when they say that till you are shaken out of your complacency zone, you will not grow. So they say that a pencil that is broken gives you the opportunity of creating two pencils. So similarly, if we are unhappy in our current situation, then only we will strive for better. And unhappiness should not be taken in a negative term. Unhappiness should be taken in a very developmental way, that you want to do something better. You may be very content for the third person, but you may want to do better, and that would only lead to growth, a growth path, if I may say so. And I have seen that in my journey also. I mean, I started working in one of the premier institutions, one of the best central universities in the country, and I joined administration. Well, I started my career teaching in Delhi University, but then after that, I joined administration, and I was young. It was a challenging position to begin with. The work itself was challenging. And then, of course, it was a world of men in between the heart of Delhi. But let me tell you, amazing people, amazing men I've met, who've been extremely helpful, who've been extremely kind. This journey would not have been possible without, my father, my grandfather. And of course, in the professional arena, there have been people who've done amazing hand holding for me. But then that I would like to see it as gender neutral. First, I think as women, when we enter a boardroom which is full of men, that itself, I mean, over a period of time, you get over it, but that itself can be intimidating. Number one, and then to be heard. Sometimes it's a man's club that is happening. It's a men's club that is happening, and you don't have the physical decibel level that is required to raise your volume. So and why should I raise my volume, right? I should be audible in the normal decorum of things. But I've realized that there are ways in which women need to hear themselves speak, number one, and also to be heard. It is very important because it's easy to be sidelined, trust me. In the best of societies, in the best of uh, circumstances, there is a tendency to take a woman less seriously. And I have faced that in administration. You have to work extra hard, you have to put in that extra effort to be heard, to be taken seriously. Uh, and once they accept you, of course, it's amazing, but it never stops. You have to keep proving yourself uh, to the others and to yourself, of course, which I think happens with men also, but it happens a little more with women, I would say, in my experience. Of course, all kinds of people you meet, and then, of course, societal structure is such that as a woman, we've all gone through it. As a woman crosses her stages of, professional life, student life, professional life, of course, research itself shows that if one were to start from student life of a male child and a female child, it is seen, and if you check out the board results, 10th standards, be it 10th standard or 12th standard, you will see that girls excel the boys in the results, in the school results. Then what happens in colleges? What happens that suddenly you find, that girls are lagging behind? It is because after school, they are told that they have a certain path and men have a certain path. In the best of families, if you want to educate your daughter to become an engineer or a doctor, you tell her, well, you have 5 years, you have 6 years. After that, you have to settle down. What is the meaning of settling down? That your responsibilities will change. So you've had all kinds of luxury at your maternal home, but it has a certain shelf life. After that, your responsibilities will change. So woman struggles. She knows that, And then she starts looking for comfortable jobs. She starts looking for a work life balance, which I totally believe in, by the way. But work life balance should be for both for men and women. So, yeah, these are different parameters that one experiences through life. And of course, there's an indoctrination. You don't question these things, they just happen to you. And let me tell you, it happens in the best of circumstances. It can happen to you in a upper middle class family, in a rich family in Delhi, where in fact the rich are worse. I'm sorry to be sounding very skeptical, because the rich will say, well, you have to study in St. Stephen's, or you have to study in the best institutions so that you find a good match. So everything leads to finding a good match for marriage, and then you have to settle down and take care of the house. And of course, you're super rich and you're living in South Delhi, and you're with it. But your aim in life is set by society, which tells you that you are under preparation for a certain role. My take on I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. My take on all this is very different. My simple question is that, in fact, let me also share the answer with you. I feel that a woman should have a choice, a girl should have a choice. It's just a matter of choice. I may do a PhD and choose not to use that PhD and still be a homemaker. There is no disgrace. There is no, I'm anti this whole working women fad that you have to be a working woman. Well, economics desires that two people need to run the house. That's a separate issue. But you don't need to be a working woman. There's a beauty and there's a grace and there's a decision, and a conscious decision to be a homemaker, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the whole idea that I'm trying to build upon is the concept of choice that a woman should have. So she may be educated in IITs and IIMs. Talking of IITs, you can see the skewed gender ratio in IITs. I mean, you'll hardly find girls taking admissions in engineering fields and specific fields like civil engineering and all, hardly any intake of girls. So, yes, there are these very prominent, stark differences that you find through various stages. You find them starting from the school life, then, as a woman or a girl goes to college. Thereafter, of course, then there is the age of getting married, and then, of course, the proper professional life, where also these days after, I was interviewed, and they wanted to know my view on the amendment made to the Maternity Act, wherein the maternity leave has been increased from 3 months to 6 months in layperson's terms, but in from so many days to so many days. And that was there in the government sector, that has now been extended to the private sector as well. And again, research shows, there is data to show that, the employability of women has gone down by this particular legislation. Because when I'm sitting in an interview board, I'm facing an interview board, the interviewer from whichever sector, and private sector more so, is looking at my age, at my reproduction age, at my marital status, along with my educational qualifications and my experience and the job requirements and everything else that takes place while filling up a job position. When my male counterpart faces the same interview board, that entire personal life of, the personal aspect of uh, marriageable age, reproductive age, that's not taken into account, because he is there to focus on his job, whereas I am inclined to, get deviated. Women have proved such thought processes wrong time and again. I think Dr. Vandana Sethi is an example of that. I'm sure you have so many examples around you who emulate this particular uh, ideology that women can break the glass ceiling. Well, that's a different concept also, but the fact that if given equal opportunity, we can excel. So this whole idea of, well, the 6 months maternity leave should be taken, in my opinion, in a very different spirit, because the 6 months Maternity leave is for the mother and child, and the nutrition that the mother can provide to the child, the father cannot provide. So that we need as a society. We don't need it as a, of course, now because the society is not providing it, the legislation has to step in and provide that additional buffer. The point being that, that particular service can only be given by a mother to a child. Moving on to childcare leave, which is provided in the government sector. Uh, I have some views on that, which I'd like to share with you. I think I have spoken for a good 15 minutes. And Dr.
Please carry
Vandana,
on. Yeah, no, you please carry on. We'd like to hear more on this.
yes, so we will talk about it, but in the interim, if you have some question you'd like to throw at me, or I'm happy for an interaction also.
Yeah. No, going by what you just said, I totally agree that you said that, we need to work hard and rather harder than what others do. And there is no stopping, and I totally believe in that myself too. And I'm sure all my colleagues, female colleagues who work with me, they echo the same sentiments. One thing what you were just talking about struck me, that during all these challenges that you faced, and the obstacles that you had to cross coming from Delhi University and then into the JNU, now at the Institute of Corporate Affairs, and rising to this much fame, did you ever feel like opting out? That no, I cannot do it? Or was your confidence so soaring high that you knew that you could do it? Because our students could really take a message from that, that there would be obstacles, there would be problems coming on the way, but if the confidence is high, then there's no turning back. So did you ever feel like opting out anytime?
Thank you for a very, thought-provoking question, Dr. Vandana, and also a beautiful question, I must say, because this leads to self-introspection in me,
Mm,
wherein I must admit that I have broken down. I have said, well, I cannot do this. It's just overwhelming. There are
mhm,
circumstances that are overwhelming. Mm, but then you pick up those broken pieces and you say, well, that's exactly what they want me to do. They want me
mhm,
to break down and step out so that the way is clear for them. And somebody will step in, right? So the
right.
whole point, since I'm talking to some very young girls here, and I'd like to also know the composition later on, maybe of this audience, which is a large audience, 299. My goodness, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm speaking in extempore, but yeah. So I think that is the beauty of it. That when you are cornered, uh, you actually uh, take that as a strength and you move ahead. And yes, I have been down. I have toned down the kind of work that I would actually like to do. I have stepped out of projects because it not because of professional reasons that I couldn't do them, just because of reasons that people didn't want me there because they thought I would excel and so create hurdles. I think that happens with everybody.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
we're talking of a gender specific role here. So yes, there have been cartels, I would say, of men where I was unwanted. Maybe it was just inconvenient for them, not that they had any hard feelings for me in particular as a person, just that I was an inconvenience because I was a woman and it's easy to kind of, do the man talk and be comfortable with each other. You do this, I do this. And when I come into the picture, maybe more formality is required. So
mhm,
I have been not considered for committees where I know I was competent. I know I could deliver much more. I have been sidelined only because of reasons that I enumerated. It has been difficult, but I've realized that so the whole idea, what I started with Dr. Vandana, is that the whole idea is not to give up. The whole idea is not to let them win. And by them, I don't mean men. This is not a battle of women against men.
mhm,
It's about this whole, if I may say, patriarchal setup. This whole setup that is conducive to a certain gender and not conducive to others. So what happens is that the men are framed into believing certain things. I don't blame them. Since a son is born, since a male child is born, he is conditioned to believe that he is this gem, gem on the planet, and a girl child is born, and she's, yeah, you're there, you're important, it's nice, Lakshmi aayi hai, all of that, but theek hai, you'll have a second pedestal. So we have this whole Raksha Bandhan where we've seen, I mean, not just working women, even earlier the elder sisters actually protecting the younger sisters, but
Mm.
आज दिया जाता है साल में एक बार या दो बार भाई दूज अगर इंक्लूड करें, that even अगर आंसू बहन भाई के पोंछ रही है तो भी मैं तुम्हारी रक्षा करूंगा. Whereas I think in today's times, it's very different. I mean, I think women are
Mm.
rising to the occasion and supporting their families and their brothers and their parents and everything. So roles are changing, and I think the sooner we realize that it's an equal platform, and make the working professional space and the learning space, starting from schools, starting from colleges, and moving on to the professional space, equal for both genders. And now there's of course the transgender also, which I will not, for the platform this is not relevant at the moment, but for all genders, so basically equality of humankind, I would say.
Mhm.
So uh, why is the night unsafe for me? Nature didn't make it that way. Why can't I step out of the house? uh, I think there are some messages coming in the chat box which I leave for the moderators because
Yeah, yeah. We'll take that in the end. Yeah.
thank you. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so what I was trying to say is that nature did make the night difficult, or didn't allow women to go out at night. It's the society that made it so. Why am I told, or why do I tell my daughter that, घर जल्दी आ जाना, या फिर रात को देर तक मत खेलो, अंधेरा हो गया है, तो अंधेरे से क्यों घबराना है? आप टॉर्च लेके निकलिए. आपको अंधेरे से नहीं घबराते हैं, आप इंसान से घबराते हैं, आप दूसरे आदमी से घबराते हैं, अंधेरे से आप नहीं घबराते. So these are some questions, and the same can be said for men. There are certain areas, my husband was telling me, where his colleagues are posted in Delhi, and they take a night shift because it is an unsafe area even for men to venture out when they finish their working hours at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So they take a night shift, and they work till morning, and then they want to come out in the morning hours. So yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that this is not just gender specific, because we are talking about Durga Ashtami and women empowerment, so I'm talking from a gender perspective, but I think the society has to be made equal for everyone. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. And in fact, it sounded so human and so practical when you said that there are times when we are overwhelmed. There are times when we really break down and we feel like opting out, and which is very human. And so the very concept of being a superwoman or of a super person, should be a passe now, because we are
I
not
agree.
superhumans and we would not want to be superpowers or superwomen, because we have the right to break down, and that's really human. So we can really relate to that, all of us. And in fact, in most of the conversations, Dr. Abha, that we have, like in major conferences and seminars, there's always a session on women these days, like women in data science, women in analytics, women in law, women in corporate affairs, because it is not that we are a minority, but because we need to create that special place for ourselves, which has been dominated since years, since ages, by men. Uh, Going over this, because we have a lot of men also here attending the session, like you wanted to know. So we have management students here, we have students from pharmacy, both undergrad and postgrad level students. So, so going over this debate on men and women and equality, which we really understand, and this half an hour which we have spent talking about this was really important for the women to know that they have to fight and to get where they really deserve to be, and for the men to understand that they have to stand up to give that seat to the women. It is not equality, it is etiquettes. Going over that, I would really now want you to address us as, in common, both men and women, about your journey and where you are now in the Corporate Affairs Institute, and what kind of profile you have. What guidance would you like to give to our youth, who are headed to the corporate world, who are management students, and they'll be headed to the corporate within this year or next year. So what do you think future holds for them, and how prepared they should be?
Thank you, Vandana ji.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you have summarized all my thoughts quite well. Thank you for that. I do agree with you that this concept of super women is passe and just overhyped, because I think we are trying to overcome it by saying that we don't want to be called super women. We are not super women. We are just trying to do our jobs both at home and in the workplace to the best of our capabilities. We want the men to help us in cleaning the dishes, in cleaning the clothes, because we are not super women. So there's this Whirlpool ad where the husband's also trying to help the lady in cleaning uh, uh, the dirty clothes. And that's how I see equality, at least, that when both are stepping out of the house, the roles should be very defined. Housework is not. So in this pandemic, we saw a lot of this influx of uh, photographs and memes where the men were so tired of doing the house chores. And then there was this entire wave of women retaliating by saying that, listen, it's work.
Mm,
It's not your work or my work. It's simple housework. So who does it is not important.
mm,
It's as simple as getting it done. Number one. Then the concept of Devi, this whole 9 days that we are worshipping the Devi, uh, I think we need to delve upon it. The concept of Shakti, the concept of Devi, बहुत जरूरी है कि हम इसके बारे में सोचें. और इतना रिच हिंदू माइथोलॉजी है, इतना रिच वर्ल्ड में आप देखें, ग्रीक माइथोलॉजी देखें. If you hear about, if you read about Roman mythology, so many examples of women having excelled. And I think we need to learn from there and not worship the Devi only for these 9 days, but all the 365 days of a year, and make sure that we give her that pedestal. And not कि बड़ा भाई है, छोटा भाई है, अरे तुम घर पे बैठो, I'll take care of this. No, we can take care of ourselves. The only thing which I accept we lack in is the physical strength, because nature made us the way that we are. So that is being used against us. If you see, violence is very physical in every form against women. If you see any reporting of violence that is there, it starts from physical violence, because otherwise they can't, we can't be overtaken. So physicality is the first step that is used. हिंसा जिसको बोलते हैं, हिंसा को यूज किया जाता है to suppress and keep suppressing.
mm.
These two things. So I'm glad that you also raised this issue of uh, gender sensitivity being gender topics being included in most training sessions, or even science students are required to attend certain sexual harassment classes. And because I'm a part of it, I can share with all the students who are here, why, ma'am, why did the organizers arrange this whole women achievers? I mean, I know that there are a plethora of women who have done more fabulously than I have done. I'm sure my mother is a super achiever who was a simple homemaker because she made me, right? You're talking and listening to me because of somebody behind me who's a woman, and of course my father. What I'm trying to say is that we need sensitivity in society, which is why we are all here discussing these issues. And because of sensitivity required, sensitization is required, uh, which is why these sessions are important. I do, like I said earlier, a lot of POSH training, which is prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace. तो अभी तो आप पढ़ रहे हैं, आप अपना बी फार्मा करेंगे, एम फार्मा करेंगे, या जो भी कोर्स करेंगे, उसके बाद आप वर्क प्लेस में जाएंगे. वर्क प्लेस में जब आप जाएंगे तो भी आप विमेन से इंटरेक्ट करेंगे, विमेन आपसे इंटरेक्ट करेंगी. So you have to know your boundaries. You have to know what is acceptable in society, what is not acceptable in society. Thankfully, we have this legislation that comes to our rescue. Otherwise, women did not even know that this is not acceptable. किसी ने pornography दिखा दिया ऑफिस में, तो आप क्या करेंगे? Is he supposed to do it? He's not supposed to do it. All things like this, but I'll be digressing if I move into that. Talking about my journey has been, uh, I have a lot to thank to God, to the power above. Uh, it's hard work plus a lot of being, recognized for the things that I have done. Like I said earlier, there have been many people, many women who've done much more than I have, just that they did not receive the recognition that kind people like yourselves have given to me. I started my career teaching in Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University, and I joined the Commerce Department. After that, I practiced in the High Court of Delhi as an advocate, where I, dealt with various kinds of matters, civil matters mainly. After which I got an opportunity. I cleared an exam, an All India exam to and an interview, and I joined as assistant registrar legal, the legal officer of Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. That was very challenging because when I joined, JNU did not have a legal department. So to start it from scratch, we had a lot of court cases, but no legal department per se. Uh, Again, a man's world where I had to take over from independent lawyers who were very powerful people who did not want to let go. Naturally, I was seen as an intruder. But I got a lot of support from other men, who said, Avadu, you must go ahead. You have to streamline things, streamline things. So I established, it took me easily a year and a half to sort of, I mean, I didn't even have a table and a chair to to begin with. So to setting up from brick and mortar, like I said, there was no legal department in the university. Actually, from the infrastructure to the work to the staff to the tools that we would use, it was challenging, no doubt, but we did it. And of course, it was a team effort. It would not have been possible without some amazing people, my seniors, my colleagues. Much thanks to them for being a part of this journey. I was also interested in, by then I had not done my PhD and I always wanted, though in my line it was not really required, but because I come from academics and I wanted to continue into academics, I thought that I must do a PhD. And so from the Center for Law and Governance in JNU, I pursued a PhD in freedom of information laws. So at that point in time when I started, the Right to Information Act in India had just, in 2005 it came, and I started my PhD in 2008. So I did a comparative analysis of the freedom of information laws of mainly the US, which has the freedom of information laws since 1962 and 2005. And that thesis I prepared. Then I started writing. I wrote a book which was published by LexisNexis on the Right to Information Act. That was my first book that was very kindly released by Shabana Azmi ji and her husband Javed Akhtar Saab in the presence of Justice Geeta ji, who for till very recently was Chief Justice at Delhi High Court. So acting Chief Justice. Now I think ma'am has been transferred to Jammu and Kashmir, if I'm not mistaken, Chief Justice. But yeah, so that book got a very great response. And in fact, Javed Akhtar Saab, wherever he reaches uh, any place, that place becomes more shairana than a book release. So it was just a beautiful evening that I have very fond memories of. Our JNU Vice Chancellor, Professor S.K. Sapori, also supported it. He was there. And so yeah, there was these amazing people in my life, Dr. Vandana, who made it possible. Thereafter, my husband is a doctor, and he's been, of course, very supportive in my journey. And whenever I say this, he said, "But you do the same, so why wouldn't I support you? We are here." So it's all about equality at the end of the day. That I support you, support me. They say that a man is nothing behind, behind every successful man is a woman, and similarly so. So yeah, then I had my first child, and while I was writing this book, in fact, Shabana ji acknowledged that how my mother would help out, and me and my co-author would sit and write. Dr. Diwakar Goyal, we would sit and write the book. Uh, After that, I've had more publications, and uh, by then I reached to the level of joint registrar in JNU, and I had my second child. Uh, uh, And then I thought, there was this craving where I always wanted to get into academics. I had been trying, but then I thought that, maybe I should, again, family compulsions that I couldn't. I got some amazing offers out of Delhi, but because of family compulsions, I wanted to stay within the city. So then IICA was something that was doable, Delhi NCR. So I said, okay, let's join here. And again, they needed somebody to shape up their School of Competition Law and Market Regulation. And we have started a new center within the school, which is called the Forum of Indian Regulators Center. So I'll tell you about both the school and the center at the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. Well, firstly about the IICA itself, for the benefit of those who don't know, we fall under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and we are a think tank for the ministry, the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which is based in Manesar in Haryana. And we do a lot of policy papers for them. We do their capacity building. We do any research that they need for us to do. And we run our own courses. Most of our courses are online. So we had a zero COVID impact because we were anyway online. We used the uh, US based Blackboard LMS for teaching. And we did that within the school, as it is called, the School of Competition Law. We work a lot with the Competition Commission of India, which is the major antitrust regulator. I mean, not the major, the only antitrust regulator. Again, it comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And the CCI is currently, as you know, if you've been following the news, it is investigating Flipkart, Google, Amazon for their anti-competitive pricing techniques and all of that. Then then another part of my school is the market regulation part. So for developing that, I have developed the Forum of Indian Regulators Center, which is just about a year old. Basically, 36 Indian regulators come on one platform. So it is dominated by the power sector. You have the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, you have the State Electricity Regulatory Commissions, you have the CCI in it, you have TRAI, that is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, you have TANC, which is the Ports Authority, you have Airport Economic Regulatory Authority, that is ERA, so on and so forth. You have PNGRB, Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Authority. All these regulators, they come on one platform to discuss. And regulation, by the way, is a very important aspect. It touches all the common people's lives. Plus, regulation is important because in this dynamic environment where the government is wanting to, deregulate everything, what is the role of a regulator? So these kind of things we do, we discuss, we do research on this. Also, I do capacity building for the regulators. Just last Saturday, the secretary, who's a senior IS officer at the CERC, he inaugurated a 3 months online course in regulatory governance that me and my team have curated. There is no such course available in India. Right now, we have kept it only for regulatory officials, senior regulatory officials, but the response has been so overwhelming that I think we will have to extend it to the others also. So yeah, like I said, I think I was discussing with Dr. Vandana that I have passed out of Center for Law and Governance. Governance and law, of course, and intersection between law and governance has always been a part of my work. Uh, I hope you can gauge from my enthusiasm that if you are enthusiastic about your work, then work is no longer work. Of course, it's hard work, and sometimes I don't get sleep, as I'm sure all of you are studying, your students. We all you have to burn the midnight oil. But my team sometimes gets frustrated. Ma'am, kya karoge ye course karke? Nobody will be interested. And now they're like, oh my God, this is amazing, because the kind of response that we've gotten from senior people who thanked us, who said that, we feel like we're in college again, and thank you for bringing us together, all the regulators of the country. Amazing response we've gotten. Then we also run this 6 months online course in advanced, it's called APC, that is advanced professional course in competition law and competition economics. So if you opt for it, if you want to specialize in competition economics, you can opt after 3 months and we give you a certificate. But if you stay with us for 6 months, we teach you competition law in detail, and we give you a certificate after 6 months for that. That also, that's an old course. It's an established course, so automatically, we have students, law students, and others who do it online, pursue it. Even advocates who want to practice competition law, because it's a very niche field. You'll find family lawyers, you'll find people in criminal law. They have their expertise, but this is a very niche area that needs deep understanding of competition ethics and competition economics also. So we train those people who are interested in competition law. And apart from that, we do capacity building for CCI officials. Recently, in the last week of September, we did an online training, because these days everything is online. So we did an online training for the officers of CCI. In January, I did an on campus, because till then there was no corona. So the officers stayed with us in the hostel of IICA, and we did a training for them, 5 days capacity building from them there. We have a beautiful campus, both at JNU, so I'm blessed both ways. That at JNU also, and at IIC also, both wonderful campuses with excellent facilities. So that is something that we do. And yeah, we would love to tie up with your institution if you think that you want to work with us, with my school, my center. Dr. Vandana, anytime you're most welcome. All of you students, you can reach out to me. I'll leave my email ID with you. And I think I've spoken enough. I've overspoken. So
No,
I,
no, you're not. In fact, it is so wonderful listening to this. And I think we could go on for hours listening to you. Such an inspiring journey. Not only the students and, my faculty and myself, it is so, so inspiring to listen to people who have achieved so much. In fact, and more so when it is a woman, because there is definitely a bias when it comes to women with us. And what an astounding journey listening to the book that you have published and getting released on such a wonderful platform. And then now this Corporate Affairs Institute, and we would love to tie up. We'll take this further. She'll definitely talk about this, how we can engage with Institute of Corporate Affairs. I'm sure my management students would be really thrilled to listen to this as well. And Dr. Abha, if you could just tell us, because there are youth all around. We have so many people who have joined this webinar, and it's being recorded for further use as well. So, what do you want to tell to the youth other than hard work, which has really what you said, and I think it has left a really deep impact on all of us. That one thing that can make you excel is hard work. You used it a couple of times, and that has been my favorite quote as well. There is no substitute to sincere hard work. So hard work, definitely. Anything that you would want to say to the youth of today, who are yet to start their career, what is the secret that you would want to share with them?
yes, thank you, Dr. Vandana, for your kind words. And I think hard work, yes, but while working hard, let's also have fun. So
Mhm.
I believe in that. I mean, while you're working hard, one thing I realized is that, so I mean, if you were to look at my life example, I ultimately came back to my passion, that is teaching and researching. So while you can stay away and work hard and do it because it's a living, and okay, fine, I'm okay with it, I like my job, but it will remain a job till you come back to your calling. So, all the youngsters who are listening to me, I have only two main things to share with you, which is that along with hard work, please enjoy what you do, because then it's no longer hard work. It's really a lot of passion. It's a lot of love into every day that you're every hour. And human life is so valuable. I mean, you realize it only after you age. After you start, your hair starts graying, you realize, oh my goodness, now I better wear all these things today, because tomorrow I'm going to look really funny wearing them. So I might as well enjoy today.
Okay.
So that is one thing I would leave you with. And also take up one hobby, that I realized quite late in
Mm.
life. By then I had saturated my, I had become so serious in life. And then I'd
Mm.
always been interested in the classical arts uh, forms. And then suddenly, in fact, through my work, I was introduced to my now guru, uh, Sangeeta Chatterjee ma'am, who teaches me Kathak. And I invited her for one of the events in JNU, and I was so enthralled with her. And I thought, and you won't believe, I mean, one doesn't have the time, between household
Mm.
responsibilities. And I reached out to her, I think, after at least 3 4 years. And my second baby had come by then. And I said, you know ha- I mean, can you teach me? And
Mm.
she was so amazing, because I thought I'll get no for an answer.
Mm.
And she said that, yeah, why not? I mean, I used to do adult classes, but because you're asking me, she did receive some queries, which she couldn't pursue or something, and then one-to-one classes. And then now she has a full batch of women who are
Mm.
my age. My daughter learns Kathak, and their age, you teach them anything and they'll pick it up. At our age, we have two left feet. So I
Mm.
really compliment my guru, Sangeeta ji, I'm taking her name again, who did such a fabulous job with me and my other, colleagues, participants who are in that batch. And it's like hum chalte gaye aur karwa banta gaya. So it started with me and Sangeeta ji, and now we are, same aged women, and we laugh at each other. We hardly can, do Kathak, but we do it. And it's we she even arranged, she was so kind that arranged she arranged a small piece for us. And last December, pre corona days, we even did a stage performance.
Wow.
And at the cost of sounding pompous, it came out very well. So please pursue a passion. uh, Life is to be lived. I truly believe in that. Life is hard work, but life is to be lived, and every day is precious. I think I
Mhm.
should leave you with these thoughts. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Vandana.
you. Thank you so much. And been such a great conversation with you. Soumya, do we have time for some questions which students want to ask? Uh, Soumya, are you around?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, now you're audible. Soumya, you have some questions. We have some questions which you would like to post, and do we have time for that?
Yes, ma'am. So there are many questions in the chat box which students want to ask. And
You can choose
yes,
some and ask. Yeah, two, three. Yes, please.
there's this common question which everybody wants to ask, that in today's world, despite the knowledge which is being given to women, that women empowerment, feminism that we talk about, still the women are not permitted to go somewhere. Still they are discriminated from the boys, that they cannot do few things. So students are asking that how to deal with this emotional imbalance that comes in their way.
Thank you for the question, Soumya-ji. I think we have to see the change that the past decades have brought. And then I think you will only be encouraged and discouraged a little also. But the whole idea is of completely changing the mental thought process. The thought process needs a revolution, which I believe is happening. And so, if you see these crimes that are being, we are hearing every day, mind you, me, this was not, it's not like it was not happening yesterday. The fact is that these crimes were not being reported. Today, you're hearing about them, right? And of course, in a metropolitan city like Delhi, it has its own challenges where it is increasing, no doubt. The world, the city is becoming unsafe for women. But the fact is that earlier also crimes used to happen that were not reported. My solution, whatever little experience, knowledge I have, is that both men and women have to, and public spirited people like ourselves, I'm assuming that all the participants, 278 to 90 participants today, are all public spirited, who've come, who've taken out the time to hear me, it means that you have some sensitivity. So if each one of you, even if one of you can take away this message to your, your bubbles, your lives, that women have to be given equal safe spaces, that itself is an accomplishment. And if you see that women are, if you look at the defense forces, we are being given a place. If you see police, if you see the unconventional roles that women used to have, never used to have, and now we have, that itself, I think, is changing for all of us. So I think the women, of course, have to battle out every kind of patriarchal notion that exists, but the men also have to question. So if when you get married, I'm talking to the men here, when you get married or you are married, and different parameters are expected from you than your wife, you have to question that, because she will question it and she will be labeled. Let me tell you, we've all been labeled, we've been called all sorts of things, which is okay. Because you believe in a cause, you should be willing to be called names, it's okay. But you have to have a spine. You have to take a stand in life. So if you know that both of you are earning and both of you are coming at 6 o'clock in the evening, कभी आप भी चाय बना दीजिए, है ना? It's as simple as that. छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं. पापा मम्मी देखेंगे तो क्या हुआ, हम आपको भी चाय पिला रहे हैं, पूरी परिवार को आज हम खाना खिला रहे हैं. लड़के नहीं बनाते, किसने कहा नहीं बनाते? भगवान ने बोला नहीं बनाते. खाना क्यों नहीं बना सकते भाई? So small things, it's very small things that will lead you to the bigger things in life, because it's just a mental state, mental thought process, nothing else.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am,
I would just take a moment here, because very rightly said Dr. Abha that you have to question, and the emotional regulation that Soumya, that you're asking about, that students asked, that how to tackle those emotions of females not being allowed to go out. It is about a fight then, it is about the females who have to pick a fight there, like what I began with and what Dr. Abha also said, is that you have to be unhappy about it. You don't have to be content by not going out. You have to be unhappy about it and ask for it. And similarly, the men in the house, I'm sure we have many brothers, many sons here in this group today also, that you have to fight for your sisters. You have to fight for your mothers, your bhabis, your aunts, everybody, that they have to get what they deserve. You don't have to snub them further. So it is about the questioning that both men and women have to do for the female counterparts respectively. Very rightly said. Yeah, Soumya, further.
Ma'am, with us we have Dr. S.C. Kapoor. Sir wants to ask a question. So
yeah, sure, Dr. Kapoor.
First of all, I must congratulate the Institute for aligning this such a wonderful issue on Navratras, and my very special appreciation for this enlightened speaker. I have only one question to share, ask rather, with a view to share also. The question is that we have been all talking about women empowerment, this thing and that thing. My simple plethora is what Swami Vivekananda once had said. You don't have to empower Indian women. Just give her the freedom of decision making. She'll write the future of this country. And now in this respect, I have one more question, because her background is from legal also. In every employment form, in every school admission form, we have what a column known as father's name. I strongly say that we all, even the gents and the ladies, should stand up. Why father's name? Why not mother's name? Because my belief is motherhood is a reality, fatherhood is a belief. If we are able to raise our voice, work on it something, I think that will give a different perspective in a different direction. That was my query. If she falls in line, I would be the first person to stand for sharing this concept at a larger scale.
Thank you so much, sir. With your permission, Dr. Vandana, I'm responding to sir. And I have no counterclaim, sir. I think I completely second what you said very beautifully. You have quoted Vivekanand ji, and I'm a firm believer that women, we multitask, we do everything, we know how to take care of ourselves. We just have to be given the freedom to do so.
Yes.
Yes, sir, I completely believe. With that, I'd leave the organizers with one suggestion, please. When I saw the creative that you had made for the 9 days, I believe you've called 9 women. My request to the organizers is to please include like-minded men like Sir who's spoken up. You need. We began by saying that we need the men on our side. Until the men speak, the other men will not listen. So I think we also need to include like-minded men who believe in women empowerment. I mean, if you see the entire Sati Pratha, the entire movement in India, in the English Times, the British Times also was, no doubt it had, it was led by men. So I think that is one suggestion I'd leave all of you with. If there are more questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. In fact, as a tribute to womanhood, when I teach management, I always start that lessons to learn management from a mother. I've always said that she is the best manager, best psychologist, best doctor, best philosopher, best emotional healer. Nothing superior, nothing inferior. She is the best. And I think, and I am proud to say that most of my students repeat this and they perform on this. That mother is the best manager. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a real delight to hear you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, there's one more question. Do you think Bollywood movies or songs play a major role in the objectification of women? And how can we minimize it?
Yes, this question is a repeated question. This question is asked of Deepika Padukone. This question is asked of people like me. This question is asked of everybody else. Uh, I think I think the society and Bollywood are mirror images, or I don't know if scientifically that's a right term, but I think we mirror each other. I'd like to put it this way, not mirror images because that can be opposite, but we mirror each other. Bollywood presents you what you give TRPs to them for, the blockbusters, and then you complain that via their item numbers, "Arey bhai, mat dekho," right? So you have to shun it as a society. If we say this is something I don't want to watch, they will not make it because they are there only for profits. So don't blame them while they are to be blamed for promulgating and for propagating certain things. But as a society, we need introspection also. If you shun something commercially, if something is not viable, trust me, tomorrow these shops will shut. So that is my take on it. Uh, I know that I don't subscribe to. I mean, I'm a classical dancer, so I don't subscribe to the item numbers that I see. Of course, kids these days in this generation have a lot of fun jumping on all of that, which is fine. I'm not against fun at all, but there's a line between obscenity and fun, which I choose to draw and I choose to maintain. Uh, so that is my two bit on it. If Dr. Vandana, I think, is a very the apt person to maybe throw some more light on it.
Not at all. I'm sure what you said is so right. And I mean, rightly put, I totally echo that it is us consumers who are actually, increasing the TRPs. And it is a true fact. Whatever we give importance to gets important. So we have to stop giving importance to it and it is shunned automatically, right? Soumya, we have more. I think Madam would also have other appointments and maybe we can email her some questions later.
Sure, ma'am.
I can type my email here.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. So this is my email ID. Or this is given privately to Barkha. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
You can give it to Soumya, I think. Soumya, you can give the email ID in the chat
Okay.
box to everybody. Right?
Sent, ma'am.
All right, wonderful.
So I think there's something wrong. Soumya ji, I request you please to everyone. Okay, this is the option.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, do you want me to type abha880@gmail.com?
I should be able to do it.
Okay, we
Everybody
can
get
see
it?
it now. Yes, yes. We can all see it. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you, Dr. Vandana, for bringing me here. Soumya ji for all the logistics, for your wonderful questions, sir. Your thoughts in particular were very very encouraging, and I hope at least some of you have appreciated the fact that some sensitivity and sensitization is required, because otherwise this is really or every incident. I don't want to name particular incidents, but it's getting worse, or it is getting reported higher. I don't know, but we do need to uh, talk about it, and talking is important. I completely I think that if we the problem with our society is that our reality and our portrayal is very different. So we need to talk about reality, and this, I think, market correction will happen. So with that, I'd like to thank the organizers again, and to all of you for patiently listening to me. You can reach out to me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abha. And just the parting thought for everybody, we are really fortunate that we can get connected to people like Abha ma'am at just a mouse click, thanks to the online world. And thanks to you for the time that you spared for us. And to everybody else, the sessions, all of these sessions, we have a session on financial planning, which is not only for women, but for everybody, which is coming from women in finance, but not, like I said, not necessarily for women, but for everybody can make use of that. We have a session from a social activist. We have a session from a female who's been a handicap, but the handicap never came in way of her success. And very beautiful sessions coming up until Tuesday. So, stay logged in at 12 every day until next week and make the best advantage of that. I'm sure we feel ourselves very lucky that we are able to connect to these super achievers, and salute to all of these women. Thanks, Abha ma'am, for joining in. Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Soumya. Thanks to other organizers for letting us be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Abha ma'am. Students are really delighted and they're really posting good comments in the chat box that we are so delighted to hear you. They have enjoyed the session. They are feeling strong and positive after listening to you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye.